Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And today we are going to tell you why the Panthers are in a better position today in the NFC South than they were even yesterday.
Yeah.
But certainly could be in 2022. This could be the year. If everything falls correctly, this could be the year.
This is what David Tepper was talking about. 3 years. This is the third year. And we kind of expected these things starting to fall in place. Not Sean Payton retiring, but Drew Brees retiring. Tom Brady's now retired.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons
Atlanta is old.
Yeah, Atlanta's old and in middle of a rebuild themselves. If the things hit right, this would be the perfect time. But right now, I don't know how much we are actually going to, or we may be hitting the reset button again. And the NFC South is going to have another, 8-9 type of division winner. So
I think that is quite likely, to be honest, that the division winner for this season, and this is kind of like a state of the NFC South podcast today.
Yeah.
Or, we're going to take 10, 15 minutes to talk about this. That's kind of one of the things I was thinking was I bet the 2022 NFC South winner is going to have 10 wins or less.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a big, and I think everybody's going to be bunched up, right? I think the Panthers will be better because honestly, I don't see how they can be worse. I think, we're going to make some, I really don't see how they can be worse because the quarterback play this past year was awful. It was atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line play was even worse than the quarterback play. The receivers didn't play well. They didn't catch the ball outside of DJ Moore, who honestly I don't think played his best ball either last year. Nobody stood out on the offense. Christian McCaffrey hurt all the time. At least I'm hoping this year maybe they'll plan a little better for Christian McCaffrey to be out. The defense could be worse because I think we're going to lose a couple of guys, but I don't think it's going to be much worse. So I really do think the Panthers, I think this is going to be the best Panthers season of the Matt Rule era. Does that mean 6 wins? Maybe. I'm hoping it means more than that. But
it better.
This is really set up for the Panthers if they can nail the offensive line issues or at least improve it enough to become average, right? And then maybe they hit on a quarterback or maybe the offensive line improvement is enough to make Darnold or whoever is the starting quarterback decent. It could be the year.
I think this is a playoff or bust for Matt Rule. I think he has to get this team to the playoffs to win. He's made some good coaching hires. As much as I want Matt Rule fired, I've liked the hires. Ben McAdoo, he's not a rock star. He's not the number one of our dream offense coordinator. But I think with what he had going for him, I think that was the best that Matt Rule was going to probably do.
Agreed. And Ben McAdoo has a solid history as an offensive coordinator with a team that I don't think was more talented than what the Panthers currently have.
No,
maybe the line you could look at and say the line was better. You could probably look at every team and say the line was better, but I think Ben McAdoo is an upgrade over Joe Brady. I think it all comes down to what they do with the quarterback, honestly. They could run back Darnold. I hope they don't do that. Excuse me, but they could. And if they do, then I think that's going to be kind of the bottleneck, right?
Yeah. One thing we haven't talked about is the Panthers hired an offensive line coach, James Kappen. Long seasoned NFL veteran, been with the Green Bay Packers in 2007 to 2017, always O-line coach. So he's always been that, type of guy. Last year he was with the Texans and before that Chargers. So it's not like he's had bad offensive lines around.
Yeah, I think that Chargers year, that was a pretty bad offensive line.
That was the Justin Herbert's rookie season where Anthony Lynn just kind of got fired because the defense couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't think that offensive line was great. And again, he got fired or he was part of the staff that got fired. And then the same thing, he went to Houston this past year and the staff got fired. So
Yeah.
I like the hire a lot. I think, he's got a ton of experience. I mean, he knows his stuff. It's obvious he knows his stuff. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying is I don't think that the team can be worse given the same staff, the same head coach, but the coaching staff has changed a lot.
Yeah,
especially on the offensive side.
And it better be. It needs to be because, it can't be as abysmal as it was last year.
Yeah.
I mean, with that being said, this is the state of the NFC South franchise. The good news is New Orleans is the worst in cap. Negative $76 million over the cap currently. I mean, that is almost double the second worst team, which is the Green Bay Packers at negative 46.
What do you remember what they were last year, the Saints? Because it was some ridiculously
they were like
high number last year.
Negative 30, I think, last year.
Okay, so this is even worse.
Yeah, I think
this is a throwaway season for them, I think.
I think this has to be. I think this is a dump the cap type of situation, get a top pick, and move on from there. Let's see. And Terron Armstead is going to become a free agent. So this is someone we haven't discussed yet on this podcast, but he's a left tackle for free agency that I wouldn't mind looking at, seriously.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's got a little bit of age on him, but, I mean, you saw what Trent Williams did this year in San Francisco. Like, he looked great. And I think they're about the same age. Armstead may be a little younger, but certainly I feel like he's going to be a $18 to $20 million a year guy. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of our cap if we choose to go that direction. But I think they're going to have to focus on the offensive line this year. I mean, they have to do it.
The Panthers do,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do the Panthers spend that much money on one player on the offensive line? I don't know. But again, going back to the Saints, you're going to lose that guy. They can't franchise him. They can't do anything. They don't have the money. Sean Payton's gone. Don't know who that head coach is going to be. Jameis Winston probably gone. I don't think they can afford to bring him back.
No.
So you're looking at what's his name as the quarterback?
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill.
They're going to have to. They're going to draft somebody or bring someone in. There's no way.
Well, I guess it depends on who the head coach ends up being.
So
I bet whoever that head coach is going to be like, why did you guys pay Taysom Hill so much damn money? Because that's just a Sean Payton guy. So
this is how it kind of stacks up the top of their roster. Marshawn Lattimore is getting $27 million. Michael Thomas is $24 million. Cameron Jordan is $23 million. Ryan Ramczyk just signed it last year is $23 million. Andre, and they can restructure some of these. Andres Pete is at $15 million. I mean, geez, Alvin Kamara's at $20 million.
That's a lot of guys over $20 million.
14 and a half, my apologies. That's his dead cap if they cut him. So the dead cap, I mean, if you're going down this line, the first person they can kind of let go is Taysom Hill. Oh, nope, that's $19 million. My bad. Jeez.
It's just going to be a lot of restructuring. They're going to try to trade some guys. Like, I bet Michael Thomas is on the trade block. He probably wants to be.
Is someone going to spend $24 million a year? Are they going to have to eat the cap like we had to do with Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah, eat some of that. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works. Or, someone trades for him with the understanding that they're going to restructure that deal.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, I got all invested into that cap on how they got negative $76 million. But other than that,
you're right. They're in cap hell, even worse than they were last year. And you can kick that can down the road a lot by restructuring and doing all these things. We saw the Saints do it last year. We've seen teams do it all the time. But at some point, you have to pay the piper. And it feels like for the Saints, with Payton gone, no real franchise QB, quarterback there, that this might as well be the year that they just take the hit, end up with a top 5 pick next year, and just start over.
And honestly, if they could do that, they could run out with Taysom Hill. They could go to a coach and be like, "Look, this is a 3-year process. This year, we know you're gonna suck. run Taysom Hill out there. And then next year, I mean, CJ Stroud, I mean, Bryce Young. There's some good quarterbacks next year. So, I could see them doing that, and then we have to deal with like Bryce Young.
It could be a 1 year blip for them, and then they're back full strength next year. I mean, but again, we're talking 2022 season, and I think they're going to be pretty down this year. I would take the under on whatever their over-under for wins is.
Yeah, and Atlanta Falcons are negative $5.5 million, which, easily restructure. They could get under the cap, but that means they're not going to be big spinners in the offseason. And I think Cordell Patterson might be a free agent. I think he only signed a 1-year deal. Yeah,
I'm not sure about him, but they're in a different boat than the Saints. They're just old. I mean, Matt Ryan he's still a serviceable, top 15 quarterback in the league. But what do they really have on offense other than him? They got Kyle Pitts. What are you doing?
Okay.
What are you doing?
Atlanta Falcons salary cap. Matt Ryan is $40 million dead cap space if they cut him.
Yeah, they're not going to cut him.
He's a $48 million cap hit next year. Sorry. Yeah. I know that was those listening. I just covered my mouth in shock, in pure and utter shock. But I mean, so I'm assuming this is probably his last year of his deal. So you got him, and they'll be able to negotiate some of these contracts. But for the most part, he's the big hit. They could probably extend him for another 2 years or split it up. That way they can get a dead cap later on.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of the rest of that offense, who are you scared of other than maybe Kyle Pitts in year 2?
I'm not even scared of Kyle Pitts.
Well, you've never been as scared of Kyle Pitts, but Kyle Pitts is going to be amazing. He has 1,000 yards as a rookie. He's going to be great. But they're not going to have Calvin Ridley. I think Calvin Ridley's probably gone. I think they'll either trade him or maybe he just never comes back. I don't know, but feels like he doesn't want to be there. And otherwise, I don't have a lot going for them. They got their, Arthur Smith didn't really impress last year in his first season.
I think he did good enough.
Getting better for them. I mean, he was fine, but
what they had. But
I think people thought that he was going to come in and really reinvigorate that offense, and it just didn't happen.
No. I guess I thought differently. I guess when I looked over that roster and thought to myself, this is not a playoff caliber roster. Now they played better than Panthers. Let's not joke about that. They looked a lot better than us, and we had the up and coming team, and they had the old team. So
yeah,
we'll see how it pans out later on. But
well, I mean, they won one more game than us. Were they 7-10 or were they 6-11?
It doesn't really matter. They were better than us. That's my opinion.
They were 7-10, so they're 2 games better than us.
So,
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call them good though. I don't think they were. Good team by any means.
I agree. They weren't good, but they were better than us. So,
well, other than 5 teams in the league, everybody was better than us.
Better than crap. They were, crap with potpourri sprayed.
Yeah, I mean they were 4-12 last season, so they improved from last season. So I don't know. I mean, maybe Arthur Smith. I'm not giving him enough credit, but so who knows? Again, that team. I don't think they have a ton of talent, and they're old. So I'm not going to say that they're going to be the team that surprises and goes 12-5 next year. I just don't see that happening. What I'm really interested in is what happens with Tampa Bay. Because they are, if not the oldest team in the league, they are the second oldest team in the league. Now, a lot of that was skewed by Brady, of course, being 44 years old. But Brady's gone. I mean, he officially retired today. And that's 5,300 passing yards and 43 touchdowns, not a lot of interceptions, and just that, legend field general, the guy that's also the magnet. He's bringing in all these veteran players that want to play for cheap and win a Super Bowl. That's not there anymore.
Mm-mm.
I have a feeling the Bucks are going back into the cellar of the NFC South.
I mean, you got to think. Yes, you have Shaq Barrett, you have Mike Evans, Donovan Smith. That offensive line, I don't know if they're going back into the gutter. They have a lot
Is
of
Shaq
talent.
Barrett? Did he sign more than? I thought he signed a 1-year deal. Is he back next year?
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's got a few more years left on that contract.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
2025, it looks like.
Yeah. Man, he sounded such a good deal for them.
Yeah. So I think this offensive line is already going to be good. Running back has been an issue, but they also have some young playmakers on defense. I think this is the team if they get a quarterback. Can you imagine if they make a trade for Aaron Rodgers? Something like that. That seems like a person they can go grab and bring in and be like, hey, do you want to try to play him with, run us back to the Super Bowl?
Let me ask you this, because I think Aaron Rodgers is probably going to Denver.
I do too.
All signs point to Denver. I don't think the Bucks would trade for Deshaun Watson. Russell Wilson?
I'd see Russell Wilson. That's a good call.
They could
Derek
they go
Carr?
back to Jameis?
I don't think they go back to Jameis.
You don't think they go back to Jameis? Carr, I feel like Carr's going to stay in Las Vegas for some reason. I don't know. That's a good question. Carr could be an option for them. I mean, Carr would be a good, a nice second quarterback after Brady.
Yeah. But
you're right. You're right. They could add a quarterback, and if they still have Evans and Godwin.
That O-line I think is going to be
probably gone.
Gronk's gone. Sue's gone. Yes, there's going to be quite a few guys who are probably going to be done that are on the longer end of the tooth. But they have a good young core, too. Let's not act like it was only Brady and all old people. Like Devin White, I mean.
Yeah, he's really good.
Levante David. That defense is young really and good.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Just thinking of the Bucks of old, I miss those days.
I did too.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with them. They're outside of the Panthers, obviously. I'm interested to see what the Bucks do because, I mean, honestly, they're probably in the best position to just add one or two players and be right there.
And let's be honest too, Bruce Arians is the best coach in the NFC South. Without a doubt.
Now, is Arians 100% coming back? Do you think there's any chance over the next couple of weeks that he retires after the Super Bowl, maybe?
If he does, he's doing a very big disservice to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I could see. Now, here's my little cap. He always came back to coaching saying he wanted to help out a lot of the younger coaches, a lot of the minority candidates and coaches for his staff because Byron Leftwich and stuff. Now, I could see if that was something he planned on doing, if Byron Leftwich doesn't get one of these jobs openings, him stepping down to let Byron Leftwich take over a good roster to.
Yeah. Well, so I just found an article where he confirms he's back for 2022.
Okay.
But I thought that was interesting to think about at least because with Brady gone, I could have seen both of them retaring at the same time. Arians is an old guy, and he tore his Achilles during the season, and
he retired once already.
Yeah. So I mean, it would not have surprised me at all.
No, me neither.
To hear that he decided to retire, but it looks like he'll be back. So you're right. Now, probably if I had to bet money, I'd probably bet on the Bucks to repeat, depending on what they do at quarterback.
Yeah.
Because they're not coming back with, who is it, Gabbert?
No. They drafted Kyle Trask last year to be the heir apparent, but he
wasn't their backup, though.
Yeah, he was.
No. It was Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert was their main backup.
Well, they drafted Kyle Trask in the third round, I believe, to become their future quarterback, but we'll see. And Kyle Trask was good at Florida. He has a lot of potential, but he really didn't play that great at Florida. So
I will say if Kyle Trask is the guy that they're going to roll out week 1, then I would not bet on them to win.
With that roster, I'm banking on them going out and making a move for like an Aaron Rodgers, a Russell Wilson, that type of quarterback. Like Matt Stafford would have been a perfect type of fit for them last year or this year, but obviously he's not going to do that. But someone like that.
Kirk Cousins has, experience playing with high-end wide receivers.
And they have $7 million in cap space, so I could see them working around some cap space to try to bring him in, trade that late first-round pick, and maybe, something else. Because I think whoever's going to Minnesota, Jim Harbaugh or someone else, will probably want to pick the new quarterback because Kirk Cousins is a good stat guy, but he doesn't seem to come in clutch. While I think Tampa Bay could be the other way around of being like, hey, you don't have to screw up. We have the team around you.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I'm never been a huge Cousins guy, but he could have success on that team.
Better than Sam Darnold.
Yeah. True.
That's how I'm grading people now. Better than Sam Darnold.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's 31 NFL quarterbacks right there that you're talking about.
My analyst of the 49ers game, Jimmy G is better than Sam Darnold. I don't want Sam Darnold as Carolina quarterback, though.
Jimmy G, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy G, another one that could he follow in Brady's footsteps and be traded to Tampa? I mean, I could easily see that happening. So
yeah, that's another one. I didn't even think of him until I mentioned his name. All right.
So
do you have?
Or Tampa could even one of these quarterbacks that we're gonna talk about over the next few weeks in our lead up to the draft. Check out our draft profiles. They could just draft one of those guys. Honestly, I mean they have Trask, but they didn't invest a lot in him. I mean that's a 3rd round pick. That's
and they've seen him for a year, so they may have been like, he doesn't have it, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you move on. You didn't trade a bunch out of it like the Panthers did for Sam Darnold. Right. So, do you have anything left to say about the state of the NFC South right now?
Right now, no. I mean, we'll revisit this, of course, after the draft and free agency and everything, and kind of see maybe where we are today versus where we are in a couple of months after everything sort of has started to settle out. But as of right now, I would say I think the Bucs probably at the best shape, and then I think it's a toss-up between the Panthers. No, I think the Panthers are probably in the second best shape, honestly. Just with the cap space that we have and the young team we have.
Yeah.
And they're just going to add to that talent over the offseason. So I really think the Panthers are probably, I don't think it's very close, but they're in second place, I think.
Yeah, I do too. I think a couple smart moves by this Panthers organization, quarterback and offensive line really needing help. McAdoo does some magic on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
This team could honestly be in a good situation next year.
Yeah, and I'm encouraged with what I've seen so far. I think they've made smart front office moves, smart coaching staff moves this offseason. I like that they even extending Suleiman and promoting him. Mm-hmm. Smart move. They're making
try
some
to keep
good moves.
Him. Yeah.
So I'm encouraged by what I've seen since the end of the season, outside of Matt Rule talking. Since the end of the season to now, I don't think the Panthers have made a bad move so far.
No, I don't.
You could say not firing Rule is the worst move that they could make, but outside of that, I think they've done all right.
Yeah, and we want to thank Nathan Capozello for suggesting this video topic. And
Capozello.
Yeah, I read that and I was like, yeah, that's a very good point. We should talk about that because I know you and I have kind of discussed it in our private chats, but
yeah, the podcast that we don't record when we just talk to each other about the Panthers all the time. Yeah.
It really does happen.
Yep. Yeah, I think I don't really have anything else to talk about now. Just kind of, like I said, excited to see where we go.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show. Our Malik Willis draft profile will be coming up on Thursday on YouTube.
That's right. We have some interesting things to say about that guy. So check that one out. And then Tyler Linenbaum will be coming up next after that. And then we'll see. So you got anybody that you're interested in us talking about, let us know. And until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.